as you can see on the screen, Lando
Yeah,
Norris fastest, no surprise. Russell
yeah.
fastest, Verstappen
Okay.
fastest. Leclerc came fourth in Ferrari, super fast, had good grip. Science. Hamilton down in what is it, 13th? No problem.
Well,
So it's the same car, and he's so far behind. So it's either that he's
yeah.
making adjustments to the car or he's sandbagging. That's what we're saying. What do you think? Yeah,
Okay, no, no. I think definitely he's struggling. It's clear that he's struggling. Hamilton way off Leclerc is a clear sign that he's struggling. He's still getting
yeah,
familiar. Like you rightly said that Lewis. We all said this. I think a couple of shows back that Lewis is going to struggle this season, and he's
yeah.
beginning to show
All right,
it.
follow
He's
me. Put
going
it back on camera. Take off the
to.
screen. Go ahead. I follow
He
you.
will take his
Sorry,
time to
sorry, Bill. Yeah, yeah,
he's going to take his time to understand the car, understand the dynamics of how the car operates, and understand his team also in terms of giving him feedback and all that. So it's
yeah.
clear that definitely is his first race. Like I've said, nobody should expect anything wonderful from Hamilton this season. He will give his best. He might end up winning one or two races. So I
Yeah.
will give you that. But the consistency will be there because it's still a learning curve for him. And you
Now,
rightly said Louis would. The reason why he decided to put him might be for or against, but we don't know. But
mm,
rationally, for now, he's going to struggle. But I think give him 5 or 6 races, he might
yeah,
begin to have a sense of consistency in the way he races. Or maybe after the first 6 races, you start seeing the consistency of position that Lewis will tend to finish, whether it's going to be between the top three or bottom three. So it
yeah.
just
We'll
depends
see what
on
happens.
maybe
But now, also on the
you
other hand, now Antonelli's not that good, but Antonelli came seventh. Russell came second. So this tells us Mercedes is fast. But once again, the temperatures in where are they? Where are they? Bahrain. The temperatures are
Bahrain.
cold. They're cold, and as usual for Mercedes as well, because Mercedes had two people in the top seven. So what are
There's
your
no
thoughts?
race there. It's just testing, isn't it? Sorry, I had to go and take some medicine. I'm an old man,
Yeah, you have
and
to go and block.
there's some medicine I have to take to avoid dying.
Oh, oh, don't say that, please. Yeah. Okay.
No,
Anyway,
no,
so
I'll live long. Amen.
you'll be fine. So what I was gonna say is that so yeah, it looks like Mercedes, they're generally fast anyway, and they're doing well in this track because the temperatures are low. It's like below 10 degrees. So that and it goes again with with the way their tire work is optimal conditions. What are your thoughts on that? Build them very quickly, then we'll go to Falabi. Yeah, because Russell came second. Yeah,
yes, I think like we rightly said, most of the teams that have new drivers, the second driver will suffer this season. And what this testing is just showing me, based on analysis, is that the constructors is likely going to go with McLaren because Lando
yeah,
Norris and Oscar Piastri are familiar with the car. Red Bull has a new driver, second driver. Mercedes have a new second driver, Kimi Antonelli. Ferrari has a new second driver, Lewis Hamilton. So all things are working in favor of McLaren to retain the constructors. But like you rightly said, yes, there seems to be a level of pace in the Mercedes.
yeah,
But the Mercedes, one thing with the Mercedes that last season was that yes, there is a startup pace that is there, but it's the consistency of maintaining the tempo of the pace that they struggled last season.
yeah,
Would this
yeah.
car have that this season? We'll
No,
have to look
but
at after
I
a
think the advantage
consistency
that
of
Mercedes and
15
Red Bull both have is that McLaren
pace.
and Ferrari,
Yeah,
McLaren and Ferrari have made radical changes on their car to make up for the fact that they won't be able to use the front flexi week after 9 weeks. So I think that Mercedes and Red Bull have more continuity and they're taking less risk. So they might be able to challenge these guys for the first 9 races. Then they're going to have to come out ahead because once the flexi wing is taken away, it's going to be a big it's going to be a big advantage for McLaren and these teams. Maybe not actually. But I do think that for the first 9 weeks are going to be critical. And so let me rephrase what I'm saying. Mercedes and Red Bull did not make radical changes in their car. McLaren and Ferrari did, and those radical changes may hurt them based on the specs now. Which even though they do allow front wing, if they've added other things to help them after the front wing is gone, they may have less balance than Red Bull or less stability than Red Bull and Mercedes. You see what I'm saying? Beautiful. Because they didn't take big risks. They were following. They're continuing because they're just trying to win in 2025, or not even that. They're trying to win based on the regulations for the first 9 weeks. before the changes go. Whereas McLaren made radical changes because they're in a war with Ferrari, and they also want to win this year. So since Ferrari and McLaren have made more radical changes, it means they could either be very fast or it might backfire. What do you think, Beardon? Yeah.
So we know everything.
Oh, go ahead. Let's go to Falabi. What do you think of Falabi? Yeah.
Yeah, basically, I feel you're absolutely right. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I think Mercedes just made minor tweaks, basically.
Yes, and Red Bull too. Yeah.
And Red Bull too. So basically, their flaw, and yeah.
Put him on mute for a second. Yeah. Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
Their flaw and let me mute Biodo. Their flaw basically and their underbody basically is what I feel they have really worked on to improve their balance, aerodynamic efficiency, and mechanical grip. And I think their mechanical grip is actually better than Ferrari. And that has helped airflow stability and it has reduced drag.
And Ferrari has changed its front suspension, which may work, but it may backfire. So
and it has improved their downforce as well. I think Mercedes-Benz has improved their downforce as well. So minor tweaks, but major improvements. Minor tweaks, major improvements.
I agree. So let's try and see if this guy is working now. Then we'll go to Kool-Aid.
Okay,
I'm here.
Okay.
The other is back. Okay, go ahead, Bjorn.
Okay, like I think, like I rightly say, I agree with the feedback you made. But I think we need to interrogate what Mercedes did. But Kunle rightly said, this is just testing and it's like the first or second testing we've seen. But let's see how Mercedes perform maybe in the next 1 or 2 races and see that if relatively that pace is there, we need to really interrogate what Mercedes did, because if you look at last season, the pace was there, but the consistency was not there in terms of performance in different circuits of the track. But we'll now have to know whether did they do something different. And Mustafa rightly said that he's aware that they didn't really make serious changes, and relatively the flexi wing of the car has also played a part in maybe the performance of the car. But I think that is something we have to also look at seriously and interrogate to know maybe.
Yeah, we'll see. So Falabi, can you hear me? You were saying something about mute. Yeah.
I think you've unmuted yourself. You were on mute.
So Kool-Aid, what are your thoughts before we move on to the finishing thoughts about
this rivalry between Mercedes and McLaren, the British versus the Germans, it's World War II all over again.
Although the British say that the Mercedes team is British too. All of them are even hot.
All of them are actually, well, that's why Hitler said he wanted to invade the British, but I digress. Yes, they both have a similar kind of, the way they approach things. They like to be perfect, pristine, accurate, technical. Red Bull and Ferrari give me more the idea that they approach it with more of a chaotic and aggressive flair. And I think this season, it's going to be about teamwork. Now, although Mercedes have made small tweaks, but they've also replaced their driver, whereas McLaren has got the same 2 drivers. So they're in a position to make bigger tweaks than Mercedes, because who's the new driver in Mercedes with
Kimi Antonelli.
I have to get used to that. So Antonelli's still going to have to get used to this car. So, I mean, I guess for that sort of reason, I'm not sure that's the reason, but that sort of helps Antonelli because he's young, getting into the new system. He's practiced on Mercedes earlier, but I think he's not putting big tweaks on Mercedes at this stage. And I think they were getting it better with little tweaks last season. They were actually improving slightly. So I think they're onto a good thing there. McLaren are focused on taking Red Bull down, but they got to be careful about Mercedes crawling up there. Ferrari was going to be a menace and a nuisance this season. I think between 4th and 5th for Ferrari, but they're going to be a nuisance.
George Russell could win the title this year, especially if Mercedes, if now that Hamilton isn't there, Russell could win all the cold tracks. Like last year, he split the cold tracks with Hamilton. He could win 4 races next year in cold weather, and if you can quickly see him get enough points. You see what I'm saying, Bildun? Yeah. So because Russell is going to get the lion's share if on certain tracks, but like what you're saying is true. So Antonelli is still up and coming, and he's a little bit wild. He's like Verstappen when Verstappen first came in. What are your last thoughts, Kool-Aid? Then we'll go to Falabi.
Yeah, I'm actually hoping. I mean, the dream is that what actually happens this season is like a Prost-Senna scenario with
Oh yeah,
Leclerc and Hamilton
it may
fighting it
happen if
out.
they
But
have
I
the
have
car.
the feeling they're actually going wherever they are. I think they're going to fight it out. I don't think that Leclerc is going to have a big advantage like that when the competition proper starts. I think that Hamilton likes to muck about, and he likes to keep his cards close to his chest. Um, I genuinely do think that Ferrari are a dark horse. I don't think they're going to win it, but I think they're going to be there
Ferrari
or
come
thereabouts. But
second
I
or
have a
first,
feeling.
second or
I
first for
think
constructors.
this is
Yeah,
going to be Norris's year. I think
yeah,
this
I think so
could
too.
just be Norris's year.
Me too.
That's
Unfortunately.
what
All right, I'll follow your
I.
thought.
Yeah, I agree with Kule, but personally, I think George Russell will be fired up, especially having a rookie beside him. And I feel the rookie did very, very well. Antonelli was very
Did
impressive.
good today.
It
Yeah,
topping his timesheets in the morning, and his performance in high-speed corners indicates that he's getting used to the W15 Mercedes-Benz
yeah,
W15 chassis. And he responded well. The car responded well to setup adjustments as well. So I think
yeah,
George Russell will be fired up simply
yeah.
because of Antonelli and because Hamilton is
Okay.
quite simply out of the picture.
Yeah, and let's give props to Verstappen and Red Bull. They look to be good. They look to be top three cars right now. Behind no, they're gonna fight for top three with Mercedes, but they did well. I think what's his name came top 10 for today's practice. The young boy Liam Lawson.
Liam Lawson.
Verstappen came third,
Liam Lawson.
and the car is faster, so the car is more stable than next year. So that even if it's slower, we know that Verstappen is a maniac who likes to focus. And once again, he doesn't have a teammate taking points away from him. Any last thoughts, building? Yeah.
Yeah, I think I agree with everyone's perspective. I think for the first time,
Oh, your sound is really bad. Yeah.
all I think in terms of some of the feedbacks, but
Yeah.
it's I think
It's
I would
only day one.
yeah
You
yeah
guys, you won't believe the practices where I am in the U.S. The morning practices is from 2 a.m. in the U.S. until 11 a.m. in the morning. So it's 9 hours. I just keep it on my TV at night, 2 a.m. I can just look at it. it
So, so let's
it's fun.
just see. Yeah, let's see what other races will look like or other tests.
Tomorrow, so they're doing more. So this is just testing, but
yeah,
and they're doing 8 hours of testing every day. So they're looking for reliability and stuff, and we can't make too much out of these times because different programs, different car weight, different fuel levels, everything. Okay, all right. I thought I'd be taking.